So I just watched Elemental. I don't know how it happened, but here's my review, I guess. I really had no desire to watch this movie, but I saw it was out in digital release and decided to watch it in the background, then I got engaged. I have seen others give it praise. And also they were saying it was an unexpected story from Pixar. And I would agree. I would say it's something you expect with a twist. So the synopsis of this movie is Ember, the fire girl, helps her migrant family run a shop in Fire Town. So her parents are migrants who moved from the Fire Village or Fire Nation. I can't actually remember what the name of the land was from which they came. I just know there was a storm that happened and this ill caused her parents to move from the land of fire in search of a better life elsewhere in Element City. So as I was saying, they leave the Fire Nation to set up shop in Fire Town, which is kind of like an area on the outskirts of city. In present day, they have settled down, got jiggy with it, and had a child. That child is all grown up and her name is Amber. We follow her pretty much the movie. She helps to run her father's shop. One particular thing they highlight from the beginning is that Ember has anger issues. Which I guess is typical since she's fire and that's element of rage, I'm just kidding. Anyways, Ember has anger issues which she is trying to control. How we're in a situation in the shop while attending to a customer, she becomes overwhelmed. She's balled up in rage. She tries to run and hold it in and takes off to the basement, but she loses it and explodes. Then the pipes in the basement start rattling. From all this miscellaneous pipe destruction, we see Wade, a water guy. Due to her fit of rage, she rattled the pipes, which caused a blockage which ended up dislodging a pipe and sucking Wade in. Wade is actually an inspector, so he begins to evaluate the fireplace and starts writing it up. Ember then pleads with him not to and ends up chasing him outside of Firetown to his place of work. Wade still ends up submitting the write-up, which gets passed to his boss. So with this write-up, it means that the fireplace will have to be shut down as it is not up to health and safety standard. Ember then breaks down and Wade empathizes with her, so they go to meet the boss to see if they can get it sorted. She also said water is not supposed to be going to Firetown in the first place. She said they need to find the root of the problem, and if they can resolve, she won't shut down Ember's father's shop. So they go together to look for the problem. With this, they go on an investigation to search for the root of the problem. And with their proximity together, they end up falling for each other. Amber is the typical I don't want to fall in love hard chick type, whilst Wade is the easygoing, in touch with his sensitive side type of guy. Obvious people who are complete opposites but appreciate each other's differences once they get to know one another. So things end up being kind of romantic, but not all the way, because Amber is strictly on business. So the issue with the pipeline is that there is a hole in the dam. So Ember and Wade use sandbags to fill it. It is fine for a few days, but it does not last. Then when they go out on a date, Ember burns the sand to make glass. Wade is impressed by this, and this gives Ember an idea. She makes tempered glass to fill the hole in the dam. Ember and Wade get closer, as in more than platonically, and Wade invites her for dinner with his family. So Ember's mother realized her daughter has changed. And these subtle changes have made her suspicious. So she then investigates, as she suspects that Amber is in love. So she goes Inspector Gadget and follows Amber around. Oh, I should have mentioned this earlier. In their culture, fire and water don't mix. Anyways, Ember is now at Wade's having dinner, and one of the family members break a glass and Ember fixes it. Wade's mother is impressed by this and suggests Ember should attempt a career at this, as she has some connects. Ember is quite distraught afterwards, as she thought her ambition was to take over her father's shop. So she hurries away on her bike and Wade follows. That's when Amber's mother finally sees them together, as Ember has been hiding Wade all this time. Amber's mother goes over the water and fire don't mix philosophy and takes them to her psychic room, where she matches couples' flames. Amber lights her flame, and to everyone's surprise, Wade uses refraction and reflection of light to cause a fire to light a flame. Something like that scene in Toy Story with Woody and the Rocket, when he tilted Buzz' helmet. I see what you did there, Pixar. Alright, so it turns out they love each other, but they know they are a mismatch. Ember's particularly overwhelmed with emotions on what her father thinks and what her future looks like. So when Wade expresses his love for Amber in a public display of affection, Ember turns it down and denies having love for Wade. Wade is upset and distraught. He ends up leaving Firetown and wants to get away from it all. But the tempered glass has been challenged and cracked, meaning it could flood Firetown, so he returns to warn Ember, whilst Ember has also noticed and is trying to warn the other fire people. She manages to get her parents to safety but goes back to the shop to save the blue flame, which is a family relic. Wade then chases after her as the tide is growing. Eventually they manage to preserve it, but they are trapped. The heat from Amber in an enclosure is causing Wade to evaporate, and they have an emotional scene about how they can't live without each other and all they want is each other even though their elements make it so hard. Wade then evaporates. Once the tide is over, Ember mourns over what was left of Wade, who gave his life to protect her and the blue flame. She gives an emotional speech about Wade, which makes him cry even though he's evaporated. So he went from AH2O to a O2, then back to H2O. Side note, I did not do well in chemistry. Everyone teams up together in the shop to make Wade cry more, and he pours into a bucket and he's back to life. Ember and Wade then kiss. After all this they celebrate, and Ember tells her dad she no longer wants to run the shop, she wants to have a shot at being a glass maker. Her dad is okay with it, and they give each other a sign of respect to each other, and Ember and Wade set off to start a new life. That's pretty much the end. Well, that is the end. But something I want to highlight is the sign of respect thing. So this was something of significance, because when Ember's dad left the Fire Nation originally, he did the sign of respect to his dad, but he never got the same sign back. Like the blessing. So for this to be done between him and his daughter meant a lot. Yeah. So that's pretty much the movie. Not bad, I guess. Personally, I don't feel the movie is for me. Not saying it was bad, it's just not for me. I'm not really interested in those type of films. I wouldn't say I am the target demographic, but I can appreciate it for what it was. And in no way do I feel this a bad movie. It did have its news going round in the box office, but it's a very good movie. It goes on to tackle topics such as racism, culture, love, chasing your dreams, and stumbling into new ideas. I personally don't see any faults with the movie. There's not much I can say about it. It follows the trope of boy meets girl, but they don't match. There's one who takes that risk, but love conquers all and saves the day. Just with some added spice of culture and physical elements that can't mix. This was a very different movie from what I was expecting from the trailer. From the trailer, I just assumed they bumped into each other on the train, realizing they can't touch, but find a connection somehow, and they were going to go on a quest on how they can mix their elements or something along that line. But what was produced was better. The animation was good and story had a good plot and focus. Especially the hints of cultural difference. I'm watching the movie, I felt the Fire Nation were a representation of East Asian heritage/ethnicity. With the tone of the shop, the music and traditions, it appeared to be so. But it could really be applied to any race if I'm being honest. But then I clicked Firetown with Chinatown. Towards the end, I thought it could be South Asian heritage, but then in the end credit scene it shows the East Asian reference. I'm assuming the water people are the white people/Caucasian. I thought the Earth was black because of the little kid in the beginning, but then I saw the Earth person in Wade's workplace and rethought that decision. But yeah, after a while I tried to put black people as the storm people, but I don't know if it was just because of Cyclone netball scene, I'm just stereotyping. But yeah, after seeing them in the stadium, I was thinking that, but then I just stopped trying to put races together. Side note, don't take my assumptions too seriously, I'm just playing for the most part. I'd just be trying to see if I can associate certain elements with certain races due to the way they were portrayed and characterized. It's not always correct. But anyways, I'll just leave it as fire is of East Asian heritage and water is just white. It can be either race, either way. I would say it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it was an okay watch. I personally don't think I would watch it again. I think it was an okay movie. I'm seeing it advertised a lot for Disney Plus. As a family movie, I think it's great watch. I would give it a 5 out of 10. But as a family kids movie, I would give it 7 out of 10. It's actually a good movie, and I think Pixar did an excellent job with this. So I just did some research and I found out Wade is voiced by a black actor. Gotta salute a brother. Mamoudou Athie. The only reason I went to go and check the voice cast because Ember's voice actor, she has a nice voice. Leah Lewis. Okay, let me not be weird. But hold up. On some X-rated type thoughts. If you below the age of 18, you can end the video here. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I'm thinking if it was real world logic, how would they know? I know I ain't supposed to think about that it's a kid's movie, but actually, you know what? I'm not trying to put images in anyone's mind. There are probably sickos who have already done Rule 34 on this innocent couple. Let me not even think about it. Separately, I think it would have been great marketing strategy to include Ice Spice somewhere in the movie somehow. Get it? Ice Spice. Alright, I know it was cheesy. I'm done. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like with the thumbs up. If you got some thoughts to share, please let me down below. We aiming for 1 billion subscribers by next Thursday, so join the team. Check out my other videos. Stay blessed.